Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ben, the creator with Monumental Heart Media. And today I am here with a really good friend. And actually, I'm going to consider you a mentor now because the last couple of times that I spoke to you, dude, you poured a lot into me. So I'm here with Ivan Garcia with the First Fidelity Bank, right?
That is correct.
And he's going to tell us a little bit about his story, how he got in the industry. And this guy really offers a lot of value. He loves educating the Latino community. And I'm excited, man. Um, we met, what was it, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
And we were at this networking event, and overall, we had a good connection, man. So I was like, I feel like people could learn a lot from you and the services that you offer. And with that being said, brother, how long have you been in the business? And tell us how you got started.
I've been in the business for almost over 20 years in the banking world. And how did I start? That's an awesome story. When I was younger, I had an uncle that was a banker,
Mhm.
and he was really successful. And he was the one with the nice car and the nice houses. And this is back to when we used to go on vacation and visit our uncles in Mexico. He was the cool Theo. Everybody wanted to be like him. He was
Yeah.
always well dressed. He looked pretty sharp. And when he showed up, he paid the bill. It was one of those things that I wanted to be like him. I wanted to have that impact on the family. I wanted to be able to have a better lifestyle. That stayed with me until my high school years. And I remember I was raised in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and Chaparral, New Mexico. If there anybody out there from New Mexico, then I was out there. And my counselor said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And everybody was all like, "Oh, I want to be an engineer. I want to be an architect. I want to be an astronaut." And I said, "I want to be a banker." And she laughed. She actually laughed, and she's like, "What? You wanna be a banker?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wanna be a banker. I wanna work at a bank." And that's how I started. So they didn't have there was a program at school where they educate and allow you to get experience with specific companies in town,
Yeah.
and I got the honors of working at a small little bank, and I got 2 credits for it, but I got exposed to the banking world in my high school. And yeah, and I was there for almost a year, and I guess I got really good at it. I got exposed on doing what a teller does and what a banker does. I was able to shadow a manager, and it was really phenomenal. It was a great experience just seeing how money works, being exposed to seeing larger numbers, loan requests, small business coming in, and the difference what a consumer and a business does. That experience opened many doors. When I moved back here into Phoenix, I got my first gig at a bigger bank and started as a proof encoder typing up numbers while I was going to college. And then from there, I went into the banking center world. Started as a teller, personal banker, and I became manager as well. And the best thing about it is that I started to love small business. And I loved it because in our communities in the banking centers where I was at, there was a lot of Spanish speakers.
Mhm.
And they were trying to do business as well, and nobody was there to cater to them. And I was the one that was bilingual, so I got all those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I started building those relationships. And as I grew, my small business owner started to grow as well. And
Yeah.
it got me more into the business side of the banking world. And I started being a small business specialist. And then just from there, I started doing loans, commercial loans, and I've been part of the Valley since then.
So tell me, why the focus on the Latino community? Because the first time I met you, we did that little mini video, and you got a lot of love, and which is cool. And you mentioned that you love educating the Latino community. So tell me a little bit about that. Elaborate with that. Like, why is that? Where does that inspiration or motivation come from?
I think there's a big opportunity there. So there's some great tools out there and resources that we're not taking advantage of. We love to work. We're some hardworking people, especially in our communities, and we're always looking for that next step. And knowledge is power. And I think the product that we cater and we use could be a great tool to get up to that next step. And I always talk about commercial real estate, but a lot of people don't know how easy it is to get it, or don't want to go through the process because they don't understand the process.
Yeah.
So I love to educate on that piece of giving them education piece of what needs to happen,
Mhm.
what they need to do. And sometimes, they're not ready, but if you give them a plan, it could be a 6 to 12-month plan. And if they get it done, they could acquire a 1 million, 2 million, $3 million building for their
Wow.
business. And some people have had their business for 40 years and
Yeah.
they've been renting, paying somebody else's mortgage when they could have just owned that and built that legacy and that financial wealth for generations. So it is that there's that resource, and I want to make it a priority for our communities to know about it.
That's amazing.
And what I'm talking about is commercial lending. It's a 504 product,
Yeah.
and it's being utilized in pretty much in every state right
Awesome. And to get a little bit more on the personal side so people get to know
now. Yeah.
you as who you are. So tell me a little bit about yourself in the sense of what are your core values as an individual? And the second question would be as as a professional.
Core values as an individual. I'm a father of 3 girls, been married for over 20 years. I like to keep my reputation. I'm a banker, right? So,
Mhm.
and I need to continue to have that trust for my community. Just being able to be there for my kids, being able to give them those next steps that I didn't get,
Yeah.
right? And be an advocate for them. And I'd like to be a mentor and an example of what they could accomplish. And not just there, right? Every parent wants their kids to do better than them.
Yeah.
Just being a support and have the capacity and the health to see my daughters marry one day and build a family and build that legacy. So we take pride as Latinos about our last names. I'd love to say, oh, ahí vienen los hijos de Ivan Garcia, las Ivan Garcia, and have that brand
Yeah.
and that relationship with our communities. That we're here to not just be as a family myself, but my whole family as making an impact in our community. And we love to help and love to help. My daughters are building that as well. We volunteer, and when we're out there, we build a better bond.
That's
So
beautiful. Awesome. And then as a professional, what are your core values in that?
wow, as a professional, I think it's all about truth, being direct, being consistent, making sure we don't waste anybody's time. Time is so valuable for us, right? Especially for a small business owner.
Oh yeah.
So, if the business owner is actually dedicating you some time, you make sure you give them that time that they dedicate you. If they need it yesterday, you make sure you give it to them yesterday.
Yeah.
How does that happen, right? I think my competitive advantage would be picking up the phone when nobody else is picking up the phone, being able to pick up the phone on Saturdays and Sundays. You know, a lot of people don't like to pick up the phone, and just because I work from a bank for a bank and they're open from 9 to 5, my phone
Monday through
still rings.
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my phone rings Saturdays and Sundays. My biggest deals have come on a Saturday and a
Yeah.
Sunday, and it could be over a nice dinner, or it could be over my client went out, finally took a day off, or he's out still in the shop working
Yeah.
midnight trying to close something, and he found an opportunity. And now he wants to discuss it, and he can't wait till Monday.
Yeah.
So just being available and being an added resource of value. So you got to add value, right?
Yeah.
And going in there, and I think I've been exposed to so many businesses the last couple of years that I've learned a thing or two that I
Yeah.
could pass on at no cost. And it could be just structuring their LLC to buy the building. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know how to do that, or to the most basic thing about having the resources about, do you know a realtor, a commercial realtor in town, or a commercial agent that's available and is an expert on this specific niche, in medical or in retail, or all he does is restaurants. Each commercial realtor has that specialty, or having the
Yeah.
best CPA in town. I work with some phenomenal CPAs here in town that we do a lot of business together, and they're experts at what they do. So just being able to know people that you could refer and have your client be better at what they do.
So you're just focused on being of value to others.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And finding out too, like there's sometimes opportunities that come to my table and I can't do it. Right. And there's specific boxes on how we do lending. Being able to say, I can't do it, but I know somebody that can.
Oh, that's huge.
Oh, dude, it's, you know, that opens so many doors, because now I call one of my colleagues, some fellow banker. Hey, by the way, you do these type of deals, right? Yeah, I got a client. Take care of him for me. He's been doing business with me for quite some
That's
time. I
amazing.
can't take care of. Once you build that relationship, it gives you a better reputation in
Oh
the
yeah, man.
professional side. I think there's so much business out here. It's just being able to identify the business and the opportunities.
And to me, it goes back that you're not seeing these people as a dollar. When it shows that you care, and I think that's important. I think when you focus your the way you run your business as when it comes to actually caring about the people you work with and you want to be of value, dude, it comes back.
Oh no,
It comes
yeah,
back like from the. I'm assuming you've been in the game longer than I have. Doesn't matter if it's a big client or a small client, dude, it comes back.
yeah, it
And
does.
in some way or another, you might not do business with them directly, but you know what? Hey, yeah, I know you couldn't help me, but like I got this other person, and boom, like it might be the next big account for you.
Yeah,
But
and
overall,
that changes. So sorry to cut you off
mhm,
really quick.
mhm,
From a small client to a big client, you could have talked to a small client today, and tomorrow he got a $5 million contract,
yeah,
and all of a sudden now he's the biggest client in town.
yep,
So um, business could move really fast.
yep. And that's the thing that I'm learning. As you already know, we launched the company. I don't know what, like 9 months ago officially, or the seed was planted 10 months ago, 11 months ago, and 8 months ago. And I think it's just goes back to that. And personally, for me, the grind, and I get it 100% what you're saying. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, if this was the first time people are watching this, either a reel or they see this podcast, what do you actually do? Let's just say that. I have an idea because we
Yeah.
became friends and we connected. But for the people that are out there that don't know about this, like these opportunities that are out there, what do you specialize in? What is your actual title? And what do you
So I'm a
service?
commercial lender,
Mhm.
and I help my business owners or facilitate them to acquire their commercial building or a, a piece of equipment. Some people identify as small business lenders. The overall process or the intent is to help our small business owners and larger corporations to acquire assets via real estate, via equipment, via mergers to buy other businesses. So, my overall role is to be able to facilitate, help them with the lending process. And when I say help them, sometimes it's more of a partnership, right? We want to make sure if we're going in and we're financing this, that the business owner knows what he's getting into, make sure that he cash flows. We don't want to give him a $20 million loan when the numbers say that he can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
So my job is to be able to build the story from the client, talk to my underwriting team and my bank and say, this is an awesome client. We need to lend them the money, right? Why do we need to do it? So I need to be able to present that and say, this is the client's been here in business for 20 years. He's on this type of locations. Um, he's won several awards for his recognition of what type of impact he's making. He's doing business with so and so and so, and these guys are larger corporations. So my goal is to show the stability, the strength of the business, and to be able to share all that information to a bank, so the bank could say we could lend it.
So you could technically, I'm not going to say, I don't know, I guess influence would be the, on top of, I'm pretty sure there's the credit,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
paperwork, but also too, there's that human element. And then
I'm the
what they're
one.
doing
Yeah,
that you like, hey, this is, you're almost vouching for them to a certain
to a
extent.
certain point,
Yeah.
it's vouching for both sides, right?
Yeah.
Because remember, if I'm able to convince a bank that we could do this loan,
Yeah.
I'm responsible for that loan.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that this client understands what they're doing. They understand the terms of the loan,
Yeah.
that they understand what they're getting in return and how much it's going to cost them. And that they understand that based on what he presented to us, which is
Mhm.
tax returns and financials and projections, that they're valid and that we could trust that information so we could make a lending decision. So that it's a valuable thing because it's all about reputation.
Yeah.
As a small business owner, sometimes you don't understand how important it is to have a brand, to be well known in the community. It's a small Phoenix is such a small world. Everybody
Yeah.
knows. If I say a restaurant right now, you're gonna most likely gonna know where it's at,
Yeah.
or how many they have, or who might be the owner. So I think it's more of being able to be an advocate
It's
and
amazing.
educate them while we're going through the process and get that engagement. With me, we might be doing the first location, but we might have a plan in 24 months to open 7 more.
Yeah.
So how are we going to accomplish that? So it's being able to understand their plans for today and have that for the next 5 years and see how we could collaborate and make it happen for them.
Dude, that's amazing, man. Like it seems like that your focus is like being a value and just educating. I think that's huge in this, in the world that we live in, and especially in the Latino community, because there's not that many options. And actually, that's going to be the one of the next questions I had. I remember when we did that little mini interview at that event. You mentioned an SBA 504. I heard of SBA because obviously getting in the world of being an entrepreneur, and I got some business credit cards and whatnot. I put myself in situations where I had to leverage credit to grow my business.
It's part
And
of it.
obviously, you see my studio set up. Like this is like over 20 something $1,000. But like in the beginning, I didn't have that money at hand. I leveraged business credit card.
Yes.
So overall, can you educate me, bro, and let me know what's an SBA 504 loan? Like I never heard of that.
So I love to always compare it because most of our clients have done an FHA. And what an FHA loan is, right? It's a government loan. And why do we like it? Because it gives you the facility to be able to acquire your personal home with a small down payment. Same thing with a 504 commercial loan. It helps you acquire commercial real estate or equipment, or it helps you finance construction of a commercial real estate. So it goes hand in hand on that specific product. Perfect example, an SBA loan will, and I'll go more into detail on how it works.
Mhm.
Okay.
And actually, with that being said, what's the process? Like
Yeah.
educate that, like with that as well.
So it takes 3 people to do a 504 loan. Okay. 3 entities. One is the client, the business owner. The other is a bank. And then the third is called a CDC. It's the ones that come in with the SBA loan, right? So on how is it structured, it's going to be 50%. The bank takes 50% of your note, and then the CDC does 40%, sometimes 35, and then the client comes in with 10 to 15% down. It's the, if we're on a commercial product, you could buy your own commercial building by just giving 10% down. Sometimes they might ask for 15. It depends on what type of building it is, and that we could get into those details later. But how it works is I go and meet the client, say, "You've been in business." I just had right now a restaurant. It's been in business for 2 years. It's working on the 3rd year. They got a 3-year lease. Sometimes they get them for 5, but they identified that they're expanding and need more space. They wanna stay in the same location, but they need more space. They also want to own the building. So what I do is I go meet with them, and I'll say, "Okay, for this type of loan, we're gonna ask you from 2 to 3 years of tax returns for personal and business." Okay? That's how we identify if you could afford it, if you could cash flow, right? With that data, we go back and say, "Okay, you could afford a 1,000,000, a 2,000,000, dollar building. Let's present this." So I get the package. Then I reach out to one of my partners, a CDC, and say, "Okay, um, I got a possible SBA loan. I would like to get you guys involved. This is the story. So and so location, so and so crossroads. We're looking to be able to expand." He's right now at a 2,000 square feet building. He's jumping into a 4,000 square feet building. Right now, he has 20 tables. He's going to be able to have 100 tables in the restaurant now. So this is going to increase revenues. So SBA is going to be like, "All right, well, give me some projections, see the difference of what they're making now to how much they would be making based on that new location. And then I need a construction budget. Are they going to modify the building? Give us that cost. Are they going to put equipment in there?
Yeah.
We need to finance that equipment as well." So we have to paint the whole story of what's going to happen,
Mm.
and then we get all this data. We're going to verify their credit. We check the personal credit, but this goes under your business credit, and then we'll see. Okay, how's his credit? Is he credit worthy? How's the cash flow? Is you reporting? Because if you have a business and you're reporting $1,000 in losses and now you want to borrow 2 million, it just doesn't work like that. So we need to be able to
Yeah.
understand your financials, and you need to be able to have a good CPA, a good accountant, a good bookkeeper, because it's really important. Because if you're
Yeah.
doing everything yourself, there's a big possibility that there might be some errors. So we got
Yeah.
to make sure that your financials are strong. And once we get the financials, we verify your credit, and then the last thing is collateral.
Yeah.
So I come in and they tell you, "Okay, I'm willing to play ball. Here's my term sheet. These are the conditions. You need to come in with 15% down. CDC already gave you the pre-approval. These are the rates. These are the terms. What are your thoughts? Do you like it?" And they say, "Yes." "Okay, sign here. Let's order the appraisal." The appraisal and the environmental are the last key things that are usually contingent upon the approval. I make sure that the building is worth what we think it's going to be worth. Because if it's not, then we're going to be short on a collateral. So collateral is going to be key on this process. I want to make sure it's a good building, doesn't have any issues. Make sure if there is issues, if you already have a construction budget, to modify that and make it a better suitable building for you to start business. And those are the main things. Once the approval's back, we package it up. We work with a title company here in town. We order docs. You come in with your down payment. We fund it, and it closes out. So most of the time, people don't understand this, but it funds at 90% because the bank is carrying that.
Yeah.
And then 90 days later, after you fund, SBA comes in and takes out 40% of that loan or 35% of that loan. There's a final process that SBA still has to do after you've gone in and actually closed with the bank.
Yeah.
Banks love this because it puts us at 50% on the risk, and it gives us more assurance that we're not going to be out there over lending, and it gives us a peace of mind
Yeah.
of what we're doing.
Awesome. I think overall, I have one more question to ask you. Do you? I heard you mention it a little bit earlier, but do you do? So you guys specialize in commercial real estate as well?
Yes.
And can you educate me on that as well?
Well,
Like, what was the
commercial real
process?
estate can be many things, right? But the other thing that we do is investment real estate. So
Okay.
let's say you do not want to occupy the commercial building. You
Mhm.
want to use it as investments, right? Everybody's talking about Airbnbs these days, right?
Yeah.
Or apartments or duplex.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
on the commercial side, we're talking about plazas, commercial suites,
Mm.
these corner lots where they own the
Yeah.
whole thing, and then you have
Like,
all these high-end tenants in the corner, and everybody wants to. So those plazas, there's a commercial real estate entity that owns it, or a business owner that owns that place, and he has a rent roll. He makes rents off of every piece. We finance those as well. Of course, the bank's going to want you to put in a little bit more money on that because they're a little bit riskier, but
yeah.
they're really strong deals, and if you're all about getting a nice return on your investment, those are
Oh,
kind of
those are
nice here.
huge.
Yeah, perfect example. I just talked to a client. We're going to be doing a $10 million building. It's 9 suites in the front, another 8 in the back. Okay, he's going to go in there just in revenues and rent roll. We're talking about, I think it's 80,000 a month.
No big deal.
Nope. The payment's gonna be 45,000 a month.
Wow.
So that's a steal.
That's,
He got
yeah,
a he
yeah,
got a phenomenal deal. Not
yeah,
always that good, right? There's some that this is a profitable model, right?
yeah, definitely.
Um, and so when you do investment real estate, most of the banks are going to ask. Each one has their own tier of loan to value or what type
Mhm.
of down payment. Most of them on investment real estate, they'll be asking you for, I would say, 35 to 40% down. They want more skin in the game, but you're going to get your return really fast.
Oh,
You have
huge.
all these benefits of owning real estate and being able to write it off, and you'll be able to control what's the future of that plaza,
Yeah,
right? But you can use that as leverage for future properties too, because now you got some extra cash flow. It means you could afford more, so we could look for another building
yeah.
or another couple plazas. So I have clients that actually buy lots, dirt lot, and build them all from ground up,
Wow.
and we work with those as well. So we do full on ground up, and then we actually finance existing buildings, and sometimes we give them a TI budget so they could go and clean them up a little bit, put them in a better situation so they could be more attractive for tenants. We collaborate and we work with a lot of contractors here in town. We work with, being able to verify the tenants. Sometimes each tenant has their own, it could be a corporate, it could be a small mom and pop shop. So we want to make sure that those tenants are strong and they're going to be able to afford that rent. That's really valuable for us to making a decision.
It's amazing. I just got educated. This is cool. I love having you on here. And this is where our journey ends. And if people want to connect or want to maybe apply for a business loan or an SBA
504,
504
yeah.
loan, what's the best contact number for you and how can people connect with you, man?
Just give me a call on my cell, 602-638-9209. Or you can shoot me an email. It's igarcia@ffb.com. And we can start the conversation from there. If I don't pick up, just shoot me a text. I know how to reply back via text. And most of the time, if I don't answer, it's because I'm helping the client. Most likely, I'm out there getting a tour of their business, understanding, and in the middle of a meeting that we're trying to help them get their dream building right. But I'm pretty accurate. I'll reply back and I'll just set a time and we could go from there. I understand that sometimes we need to understand what we're getting into. If the first call is just information, tell me, hey, I need information about this and how it works. I don't mind. I love educating. The more, the better it is and the easier it is to do business with.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for stopping by today, brother.
Gracias por la invitación.